Hi, hello, good evening, depending on when are you listening to this episode. I'm so excited to welcome you to the next episode of Aura Flows Through Thoughts. Today I want to focus on the intuition, because since I saw all those incredible opportunities and all those incredible quote-unquote coincidences in my life, this is what has been guiding me to live more authentically and to flow, not force through life. So I want to share with you how to sharpen your instincts. I want to share some questions for you, so maybe some journal prompts, what to do to strengthen your intuition, to get in tune with it, and how to be flowing, not forcing. So once again, welcome to Aura Flows. I'm Demi Exploring, I'm your host, and I welcome you to co-create this safe space to talk about daily life inspirations in order to find the most effortless way to be mindful in your body so you can live your dream life. Let's slow down a little, take a deep breath, and make the aura flow. But first of all, I want to thank you so much for listening to this episode. Hey you, thanks! And if you're not subscribing to this podcast, go ahead, what you doing? Let's co-create this space together. Ta-da-dum. Let's hit the subscribe button. Welcome to the family. I'm grateful to the moon and back that you're here with us. Okay, let's start with a deep breath in. And exhale. And release it all. Okay, great. Perfect. Okay, let's dive in and find out how to sharpen our instincts. But before we get the answer to this question, we need to take a step back and point out the difference between intuition and anxiety. Because I feel like those two, they're showing up in a kind of similar way in your body. But if you pay attention and you know to point the difference between those, it's very easy and you cannot mistake them. And I believe this is one of the most important steps in here to learn how to tell this difference, because one of them will pull you towards your dream life, will pull you towards whatever is best for you, and the second one will be working against that. Also, please remember that all I'm saying here, it's my experience and how I'm feeling those things, so it might be showing up differently in your body, but see what resonates and take only what you think is valuable for you. Okay, so let's go. At first, let me try to explain it to you without any example, and we'll see how that goes. Intuition for me is very gentle. It's soft. I see it as this little creature sitting on my shoulder. They are wise and they know what is best for me and whispering to my ear. And I do not always agree with what they're saying. And it often seems like this is the more uncomfortable option. And this is something that I should do, even though I don't really like the shoulds and musts words. Deep down, it gives me this feeling that this is something I would benefit from. Even though, in this very moment, I don't really feel like doing it. And here is where you can mix it up with anxiety, because anxiety also tells you that it's not something you want to do right now, right? But it is so much louder. It's not whispering to your ear, it's not very gentle, it's just telling you, you should not do this, because if you do, you're gonna be in trouble, it's not gonna do any good for you, you should run away from it, you should hide, and stay within your comfort zone. And here's the trick, because if you stay in your comfort zone, that means you're not growing. And if you're listening to this episode, I believe you do want to grow. And that's why we're here, because we want to learn how to listen to our intuition more carefully so we actually hear it, because oftentimes the anxiety is so loud over our head that we cannot really tap into our intuition, because this flight or fight mode is taking over our body, is making us uncomfortable, paralyzed. It tells us to run away from whatever would be best for us. So if I would put it into one sentence, I would say that intuition is soft and the anxiety is loud. And that's the easiest way to say it for me, and how I tell the difference between those two in my body. So as I mentioned, the anxiety just tenses me up and I cannot really move. And with the intuition, I kind of get that feeling as it's pulling me towards the thing, even though my mind tries to hold me on that. But I get this pulling sensation, which is kind of weird because I'm by myself or no one is even touching my body, right? And as I said, you can get totally different sensations, and I would love to hear your thoughts on that and how you experience intuition and anxiety. And here I'm gonna do a little self-promotion because I want to invite you on my socials, on my Instagram, domi.explory or aura.flows, where you can share with me your experiences, and I would love to hear those. And I always love messaging with you guys, so come on, don't be shy, say hi, and let's get back to the episode. If you still don't know the difference between anxiety and intuition, because what I said just didn't resonate with you, or what I said is so enigmatic, or you have absolutely no clue what I'm speaking about, then I have one really important question that you can ask yourself in any situation that you think it might be anxiety or intuition, which is, am I regulated? Are my emotions regulated? Is my body regulated? Can I slow down my breath? Can I calm down? Because if you can't, it means you're in this flight or flight mode, which tells you to run. And we get that from our ancestors that needed to protect themselves from the wild animal or from other people or whatever their dangers might be. And I would love to say that it doesn't apply to the present times, but the world is crazy and there's so many crazy things happening that I just cannot wrap my head around. So let's just leave it, because I don't want to talk about it today. That's not the topic. Let's just say, hopefully you don't need to fight in your daily life to sustain your life. If you're out there somewhere and you see a person that you really like and you wish to come over them and say a little compliment, but then your mind goes like, oh my god, what if they reject me? What if they don't want to talk to me? What if they think I'm stupid? Well, to me, it seems like there's no actual danger. You're just freaking out because you're afraid that the life is gonna end. No, it's not. Just go ahead and talk to them. If you're not in actual danger and you can calm down your breath and you can calm down your body, you're fine. This is your anxiety speaking. But if you're standing somewhere and you're in your relaxed state and then you get the message, well, better do not go there, then it is your intuition speaking. And I hope it's a little more clear, and let's move on. The next very big step on my journey was to come through people pleasing to following my intuition, because for a long period of time I was trying to make everyone happy and I was neglecting what I wanted to do just to make someone else happy, or to not make them feel uncomfortable, or not to feel them left out. But what the fuck, who cares? I'm living for myself and I need to take care of myself. So I'm very glad that I came up with this conclusion and I started to follow my intuition. And it happened that I started to attract more people that are on the same frequency as me, and now they just understand. If it's 1 a.m. and I don't want to go to another bar, they understand. And I'm very glad for that, and I thank them for that very much. But that's when I follow my intuition that I don't want to drink anymore. I prefer to go home, and I don't fucking care if they're gonna think that I'm a loser because I'm not drinking till 4 a.m. Because I had my fun, I spent a great evening, and now we gotta take care of ourselves. We gotta go home when we gotta go home. And the only thing we care about is if we're not leaving this one friend by themselves, we tell them, text me when you're home, and check up on them in the morning. And from this moment on, we only take care to get home safe, take off the makeup, maybe have a little midnight snack, and go to sleep safe and sound. And you're probably gonna ask me, dummy, but how did you go through people pleasing to taking care only for yourself? So this is my first advice that I want to give you. Be comfortable with yourself. Learn how to spend time with yourself. It doesn't have to be anything big, and you're probably already spending some time with yourself. But is it intentional? So there we go. And then you're not gonna want to stay with your friends when you want to leave just because you're uncomfortable with being by yourself. Today or tomorrow or this week, I want you to go on an intentional walk with yourself. Or it doesn't have to be walk. You can go to a cinema, you can go to a restaurant. I want you to be by yourself. I want you to not call anyone. I want you not to check your phone constantly and not listen to any music or podcasts. And I know this might seem a little intense, especially if you're not used to doing all of those things. So if it's gonna be easier for you, you might listen to a podcast, for example, so you have someone talking to your ear. But the goal is to learn how to be comfortable with your thoughts without any stimulation from the outside, if it makes any sense. And I don't want to throw you onto deep water. If that's too much for you, take a 15-minute walk. If you're comfortable with this one, then maybe take yourself to a restaurant. And if you have a smaller budget, then maybe just go and pick a dessert and eat a dessert. And if you're comfortable with that, then maybe go to a cinema. And you got the point. Just make baby steps so you get used to being by yourself. And with all of that, I really recommend having your journal on you. Because when you're already by yourself, you might have a thought appear that you would want to write down. If you don't want to carry a notebook everywhere with you, like I do, because I love it, but my back hurts because of it, you always have your phone. Open up the Notes app and have a notes tab only for thoughts that came up to you when you were by yourself. And just open up for whatever is happening in this beautiful head of yours, because I promise you, you're gonna be surprised. And I know it might sound scary, but please try. You're the only one person who's gonna be by your side till the end of your life. So, might as well get to know them, right? If you're gonna be comfortable with being by yourself and you open up your mind for your thoughts, that's the time when the intuition will come through. And then you're actually gonna hear it when it's not drowned out by all of the chatter, by all of the sounds. And later on, when you sharpen your instincts enough, which isn't anything specific, and for everyone is just a different timing, you're gonna hear your intuition coming through and more social spaces and some places that are louder, you will just hear what is best for you. But the next step, which makes a huge difference, is to go for it. And I know it might seem silly, but if you hear, I want to go to the cinema, or I'm craving some pumpkin risotto, then do it, eat it. Because only then you give the signal to your mind, that's good, I'm following it, and that's when your intuition is starting to come through more often, because your mind knows you're actually listening to it. Let's flip the coin and see the opposite scenario. You hear you want to eat this pumpkin risotto, but you're not making it, you're not getting it anywhere, and instead you're getting mac and cheese. It might be a similar vibe, but maybe you weren't really feeling like this amount of cheese, but you ate it just because you didn't want your roommate to feel bad because they cooked it and you didn't want to eat it. Sure, we always love sharing the food with your roommates, but without fulfilling your own need, your own desire, your mind thinks, well, so why do I even tell them that? Why do I even speak up if they're not listening? It's like talking to a wall. And I believe you had multiple situations in your life that you were actually talking to a wall, and you know how pleasant that might be. So let me just tell you that I believe that you have strength within yourself to go for those desires. And this one will definitely strengthen your intuition. I have to admit that the example with the risotto is kind of silly because, well, you might only have some stomachache if you eat too much cheese, or I know at least I would have. But your intuition also might give you some hints about things that are bigger than that. So, as a great example, I was studying some economics back in Poland, and I had this thought, well, this is not for me. I'm coming from a totally different universe. I'm not fitting in here. And let me tell you, it wasn't easy at all. But the longer I was ignoring my intuition, the more dreading it became. Because deep down I knew it is not for me, that's not my destiny, that's not my path. Or maybe it was my path to get where I am, but you get the point. And I was terrified to tell my parents, and I didn't know what to do instead, and I didn't have any other plan to propose to them. But I had to get my courage. I had to do it in spite of my fear. I was crying a lot, but only after I told them I'm done, I felt so much lighter. It was like the weights lift off my shoulders. It was wonderful. I'm just thinking maybe it sounds similar, and maybe you have a situation in your life that you're feeling really dread about, and it's dragging you and you don't want to do it anymore. So let me just tell you, going for your intuition will feel easier, even though before taking up this decision is not easy, and also getting where you want to be also might not be easy. Which is not very encouraging thing for me to say right now. But I promise you, living in tune with your intuition just makes life feel effortless. Or as effortless as it can get with everything that's happening in the life. But why would you make your life harder for yourself? Babe, just listen to yourself. Listen, what do you want? And do it. I know you can, and I believe you can, even if you don't believe it yourself yet. No, I believe in you. Ta-da-dum, ta-da-dum. The last thing I think that might be the most difficult one for me, and I'm still struggling with that. And you can guess how it got any more difficult to resist people pleasing. Well, it can. My last advice to you on how to sharpen your instincts would be let the expectation go. Whatever your intuition suggests you to do, it often might not get you anywhere. Meaning, it might not bring you a fortune, it might not build your career, but you have to accept it, And this is something that it's difficult for me because I would love to be the best at everything. And from the very beginning, so oftentimes I get frustrated if my intuition says I want to see this movie and I'm thinking how to make a career out of it, which sounds crazy, I know. I just need to come to an agreement with whatever I want to do is for me and to have fun, to live my life. And it's not always about making money and hustling and selling stuff. And we love our planet, and we definitely don't love that it's soaked in this capitalist thought of everything needs to be sold, and all you're doing needs to be productive, and all you're doing needs to make profit, and it needs to make sense to everyone else. No, it have to make sense for you. So if you want to lay around and make some Sudoku, do it. If you want to put the puzzle together, do it. And if you want to smoke a joint, go ahead. And of course, we gotta keep our balance to do things that will provide us money and will pay the bills with what we want to do to relax, to enjoy our life and live it how we want to live it. You don't have to make money out of everything. The money will come to you anyways, and more effortlessly than you expect. And here I want to say about some nuances that I see in here, because not everything is black and white, as we all know already. So if you hear it in your head that you want to smoke some weed or you want to drink a beer, and it might sound like your intuition speaking because you want to slow down and relax, be careful, because addiction is not something you want to play with. Because if I wanted to smoke a joint with an intention of relaxing or getting in tune with my creativity from time to time, well, that's okay. But if I heard it in my head that I want to smoke for the 7th day in a row, that might not be my intuition speaking, but the comfort and the habit. And now I see I just make it harder and harder for us. But, well, maybe in here you can ask yourself, am I going to benefit in this in the long run? If the answer is yes, because if you're sitting with your friends and you're having a great time and you're making memories, then, well, go ahead, enjoy. But if this activity is looking the same every single time, then maybe let's pass on that today and see how we feel about it tomorrow, huh? Let's find something else for us to do. And this is something I'm not really qualified to talk about, but I felt like this is a really important thing to mention, because I feel like I got into this trap myself for a couple of times recently. So I just want to warn you, because I'm here to alchemize my experiences so that you can learn, because, well, the best thing is to learn from other people's mistakes. So I just wanted to throw that in here, and you're the only one who can create this balance. Also, because it is not something that just exists, you have to create it yourself. Sorry to break it up to you. You have to create your balance. You have to set the boundaries also within yourself. What do I want to do? how often do I want to do it, etc., and all that stuff. And if you have any advice on how to let the expectation go, please let me know, because this is something that I'm not really good at, and I'm practicing it almost every day. But so let's say you're cleaning, walking, driving, whatever you're doing, and listening to this podcast, which once again, I'm so grateful that I can talk to you. You cannot even imagine that, but okay. First gratitude round for you listening to this. Thanks. Okay, let's come back. And you're wondering, where do I even start? There you go. Let me tell you. Just after this episode, of course, if you have the space for that, I really recommend you to sit down and do nothing for, 15 minutes. And it might sound a little weird because in the last episode I was sharing with you what it can do and what you can do daily to improve your life in the future and stuff, but well, I change my mind every 5 seconds. So this week I encourage you to just sit down and do nothing even for the full day, but at least 15 minutes. Just see what comes up. Set on the timer so that you don't need to care of how much more has left. Just sit and breathe. You might want to do a meditation, but I know that's like additional step and also something I would encourage you to do at all times and every day, which you already know. So just sit and breathe and live and see what comes up. And I have for you a couple of questions that might help you, and you might want to write it down so we can journal about them a little, but these are also the type of questions you can ask yourself basically at any given time, any day, anytime, anywhere, it doesn't matter. I hope these will help you to open up for the intuition to come through. So let me share a few questions and let me give you like 2 or 3 seconds to see if an answer pops up into your head. If not, then I'll also have them written down in the description and you can look at them, you can write on them and like whatever. Okay, the questions, let's go. Oh no, before the questions, let's take a deep breath together. Okay, inhale and exhale, and one more, inhale and exhale. Okay, now let's go. First one. What food is your body craving? What path do you want to take today? What are you open to receiving from life? What is true for you right now? What does your heart want to say today? And 2 more that will help you get in tune with your intuition. The first one. In what aspects of your life are you most likely to follow your intuition? And this one is something I would really recommend writing about. The second question. Where in your body you feel the intuition speaking? I hope those help you a lot, and I hope this episode helped you. And I would love if you shared it with someone that you think might benefit from this episode. And I would be forever grateful to you for doing that. I already love you so much for listening to this episode, and I appreciate all of you that left a review on my podcast. That helps me out a lot. And I would love to hear your thoughts and your experience with intuition. So go ahead on my socials, which will be linked down below. So it's a super easy access for you. Once again, thank you so much for listening to this episode. I'm your host, Demi Explody. This is Aura Flows Through Thoughts with the episode sharpen your instincts. Speaking on the intuition. And I hope to see you on my socials or next week with the meditation to relax your body and tune into what comes up. So, wherever it's gonna be, see you soon. Have a wonderful rest of your day and be well. Bye!